It's my first time clearing the Abyss with 4-star characters. They're a lot stronger than I had expected. One thing to note, Fischl, Lynette, and Rosario are all on 5-star weapons. However, I went back and cleared with 4-star weapons. Real talk, it wasn't even much faster than the 4-star weapons. You can knock this boss down, but it's far from necessary. The trick is, it will check before attacking. If the shield is at a specific threshold, then it goes upward. So if you get it right above that threshold, you are able to wait for a longer attack animation and have a bigger window for elemental damage. I would have used the footage with 4-star weapons, but Chamber 2's video file was corrupted. 1 and 3 are found in the description. If you're fast, it's only 5 to 10 seconds slower without breaking the shield, but could honestly make the difference, so long as you bring units that are Pyro, Cryo, or Dendro. This boss is a breeze. If you are still tripping on 5-star weapons, keep in mind my Zhang Ling is somehow still C1, meaning I could be doing a lot more damage. These rotations aren't perfectly executed, but it gets the job done. Just don't undervalue ER. Friendly reminder to recharge your burst for the next chamber if you can afford to do so. The fact that somehow Lynette's E perfectly didn't hit, but the follow-up damage did? For the uninitiated, Salad is simply Hyper Bloom. It's triggered by an Animo unit. Not to be confused with Hyper Bloom, but you put an Animo unit on the team for fun. Fischl applies Electro to the enemy without triggering really any Hyper Blooms. Then Sucrose swirls the Electro applied to the enemy onto the Hyper Bloom seeds and triggers them. With Hyper Bloom triggers, you want to build full EM, but Animo units you already want to do that. This lets you play an offensive unit like Fischl instead of Kooky for a Hyper Bloom team. Or say you wanted Hyper Bloom on both halves of the Abyss, but you needed a second trigger. Salad can give you that option. Hyper Bloom itself is a single target team, but with an abundance of Hydro and Electro application, combined with less Dendro, you get more Electrocharged uptime, and that kind of supplements the AoE for the first chamber without really taking away too much from Hyper Bloom. Back to the gameplay. Rift Hounds are straightforward. Either stay near the center of the pack or target the big one and you're good to go. Since Oz is still on the field, this mage would be aggroed even if I run to the corner. This approach isn't the fastest by any means, but is the most consistent for success in my testing. Charged attacks or some normal attacks with poise will push the mages back closer to each other. To prevent the second mage from teleporting away, just remove both shields before eliminating them. Since I'm playing Circle Impact, it's ideal to sync the bishops, as once that's accomplished, their movements keep them from separating. To sync the bishops, as they start out of sync, you stun lock one of them while the other begins attacking. It can be done if your attacks have poise like Klingo normal attacks, or knockback like Rosaria's Burst, as an example. This melt team has to be one of my favorite teams as a whole. Very intuitive, powerful, and a bunch of fun. Just like before, target the most stationary target, as the other one will approach you and group itself. With Bennett's Pyro Aura application, watch out for burn. It can take out a good amount of the cast. Sorry for the break in uploads. I plan on uploading 4.1's Abyss for this week, then we'll visit 4.2 Abyss. However, just because this isn't the current Abyss, doesn't mean you can't learn from it. I design my videos so that you can learn from the team itself, since you can often apply it to different Abyss cycles. I was a bit too conservative with bursts here. The HP bar is deceptively low. I ended up spending 30 seconds to take it out. The premise of this team, and many other quick swap ones like it, is taking advantage of snapshotting buffs. Snapshotting in its simplest form is Zhang Ling using Pyroneer inside of Bennett's Burst. Except Zhang Ling doesn't lose the buff when switching off the field, or when Bennett's Burst ends. Not all characters snapshot, so just test it and adjust your rotation accordingly. If you can get away without a defensive option, Dendro main character and Nahida are big upgrades to Salad teams. However, as I needed a defensive option, Yao Yao isn't much farther behind Dendro main character if you minimize healing taken. Sucrose's burst infusing cryo is something I could have avoided. It takes away from the number of hyperblooms you get. It's as simple as extending one rotation, or delaying the start of the next rotation, just something to keep in mind. You almost have to keep tabs with this team, similar to what Sucrose plays like. Again? Playing this team, you have to adjust rotations based on the situation. It's not as linear and repeatable as others. During Yao Yao's burst, paired with Xingqiu, you will get a lot of blooms, almost too many blooms. The way I circumvent this issue is infusing Sucrose's burst with Electro to trigger them off field, or I'll position myself around Oz so that he will trigger the hyper blooms, as that's better than letting the blooms just explode. Once you get the momentum going for this team, it's great at sustaining damage for longer periods of time. This does come at the downside of not being able to front load much damage, but it's just a different playstyle. Funny interaction here. Some characters can knock back the enemies, and when you chain those together, if the enemy is stuck in stun lock to the point where teleporting away is severely delayed, then Circle Impact can easily take out the mirror. Voiceover is a fun idea. Let me know if you want me to keep adding my voice over for the commentary. Farina's theme rocks. Definitely is one of my favorites, but Nahida is still my favorite arc on the market. This Abyss has been great, a nice change of pace. Not really difficult, but technical enough not to just be a DPS check like we've had in the past. Most sword charge checks can knock these enemies back when they give you an opening. Use this to group them together. At this point, they will plunge attack onto you. So long as you stay in melee range, they will finish the grouping for you. Whilst grouped, if they sync, you will often get one-shotted. Either keep them out of sync or iframed with bursts, so that isn't a problem. I have a newfound appreciation for 4 stars. Not having 5-star burst animations makes gameplay feel more fluid. Never really thought about it before though. This boss is a fun concept. Enabling us to do plunging attacks is a good change of pace. In a perfect world, we wouldn't have official trigger any of the hyper blooms, and we'd be able to ignore EM altogether. However, getting Sucrose to trigger every single hyper bloom is just too unreliable. The difference between having no EM at all versus a little bit is huge, hence one EM source will be the best middle ground without compromising Oz's damage too much. The idea with Sucrose's skill is to either battery for burst, or to use when you see Dendro Pores in the room. If you see the Dendro Aura on the boss, normal attack will create blooms which allow you to use her skill. Seems obvious enough, however the boss aura shown is a tool I don't see many people talking about or utilizing. I've always been interested in why we name so many teams after foods, probably just because people are hungry. On that note, salad is just like soup except you take out the heat from it and throw in some vegetables. Thanks for watching, and as always, if you have any questions, feel free to ask.